Heard reacts to judge forcing her to testify live footage. Amber Heard has been trying her best to change the narrative of the defamation case against Johnny for many days now. Not the least of it is firing her PR team in order to try and get a better one to handle the onslaught of accusations and statements that were being said about her as Johnny presented his side of the story in the case. But just as the Depp team were stating that they were resting their side of things, Heard's team made a bombshell move by trying to get the whole case thrown out. There's a lot of things that went down in court, and we'll try to break it down in this video. Stay tuned. Do recall that the crux of this case isn't about AB per se, but rather the allegations of AB by Amber Heard onto Johnny cost Johnny his career. Last week, many statements were made by Depp's witness to enforce that fact, and on Tuesday, a nice round number was given. Depp lost some $40 million in expected earnings following Heard's 2018 Washington Post op-ed. Forensic accountant Michael Spindler testified. Spindler is being considered an expert in his field, and this is what he said. "I concluded that Mr. Depp suffered lost earnings of approximately $40 million. Spindler said he calculated the figure based on Depp's roles in Pirate 6, its expected net earnings, and Depp's role in non-franchise films. Spindler explained that he reviewed account recordings, trial exhibits, depositions, trial testimony, and other documents following the 2018 op-ed. Heard's lawyer grilled him on this calculation and tried to state that certain events or moments weren't factored in, but Spindler held firm on things. During the redirect, Spindler explained that 2017 was the best year to use for his analysis because it was a typical earning year for Depp. It just makes sense. It's the correct approach to take. He said, "You're taking a look at what Mr. Depp would be expected to earn in the fiscal year, and you're analyzing following the op-ed. So if the numbers are to be believed, Depp lost $40 million in movie revenue alone, and this is not including what other deals and partnerships that he might have gotten as a result." A clear-cut answer to whether the op-ed defamed Johnny's career. Now, before the chaos and before everything went nuts, there was a testimony to be had. Amber Heard's former nurse, Aaron Falati, continued her testimony on Tuesday morning. Her video deposition was being played inside the Virginia courtroom. The addiction nurse discussed Heard's history with anxiety and substance abuse. Heard told Falati of previous bouts with bipolar disorder, attention deficit disorder, eating disorders, anxiety codependency issues, and occasional insomnia. Heard also reported a history of substance abuse, including cocaine and liquor. Falati's medical note stated. Falati said Heard drank between 1 and 3 glasses of red wine daily, but she doesn't recall her being intoxicated. They also discussed Heard's drug use at Coachella in May 2016, including mushrooms and MMA. Heard also said she felt insecure and jealous when not in Depp's presence. Falati's notes were read, which stated that Heard felt nervous about being alone as Depp was working on the movie set in London in 2014. Notes from 2015 show Heard voiced concern to Falati about her ability to trust Depp. Following the arguments in Australia, Falati recalled the treatment team deciding that Heard and Depp should not be around each other. Heard returned to LA and Depp remained in Australia. Falati also noted that Heard's mood has been labile or swinging in a pendulum, sad at one moment then transitioned to happy. Falati was questioned regarding her notes from December 17, 2015 when she visited her at her home. Heard had visible bright red blood appearing at the center of her lower lip as a result of an altercation with Depp. Falati's notes read, Heard also told Falati that her head was bruised and she lost clumps of her hair during an argument with Depp. Falati looked at her scalp but wasn't able to visualize the hematomas. Heard described in her medical notes. She encouraged her to see Dr. Kipper or go to the emergency room. As notes were reviewed from April 2016, Falati confirmed that Depp was also being treated for substance abuse. So right there was a cause for warning for Heard, if you will, as this was a nurse stating that Heard had multiple mental issues issues and substance abuse issues, and that some of her testimony about how Johnny hurt her weren't exactly lining up, but that wasn't the only domino to fall before a certain someone was asked for. And with that, Johnny's team rested their case and the chaos began. Amber Heard's team has been chomping at the bit to try and get things to go their way, but no one could have expected them to ask for the judge to dismiss the case when they began their arguments, and yet that's exactly what they did. Heard's lawyer, J. Benjamin Rottenberg, argued that the judge should dismiss the case. You can very easily imagine what happened next, citing a lack of evidence as the reason for the dismissal, and that Heard acted with actual malice when writing the 2018 Washington Post op-ed. Rottenberg argued that Heard did not write the op-ed headline, pointing to the ACLU's encouragement of the piece and their involvement in writing the first draft. Heard's counsel argued the depp AB's Amber in non-physical ways, pointing to evidence. Rottenberg admitted there are disputes that Depp physically AB'd Amber, but said there is evidence of emotional, mental, and physical AB presented in recordings and menacing statements. He said that only AB by Depp even one time would result in her winning the case. Then she wins on those claims. It's that simple, Rottenberg said Tuesday, claiming there is overwhelming evidence. Naturally, Depp's lawyers vehemently denied this and stated that the trial must proceed because she is the ABer and so on and so forth. The judge eventually ruled that the trial would continue and that Heard's team must make their case. Now there is a lot to unpack here, and for various reasons, not the least of which is that this was a very sudden thing that Heard's legal team did, and it's really striking people a lot of ways as we noted earlier. Heard just fired her PR team and hired a new one who has a history of going up against Johnny to help her manage the headlines against her, and yet the first chance they get, they try and dismiss the case. Did they really think that would go over well with the court, with the people and beyond? But there's another pivot here that hopefully you caught. Heard's lawyers said that she wins the case because she was also the victim of emotional AB, psychological AB, and mental AB, and to an extent based on what she was presented by Depp's side. You could make that argument, but here's the twist. Amber Heard absolutely based on evidence and testimony presented did the exact same to Depp, and there are multiple accounts of her physically ABing Depp, with witnesses stating they saw it firsthand versus no witnesses so far stating that they saw Heard hit by Depp. And remember, the basis of this case is whether the op-ed, which had implied physical AB, hurt Johnny's career, and it absolutely had based on evidence presented and just common sense. So why did they suddenly go away from this is about physical AB to this is about mental, emotional, and psychological AB? That's a huge difference and very much not what they were trying to present in their various cross-examinations. It also should be noted that at one point in time, her lawyer team passed notes on to her new PR firm, as some people would say that's kinda sus. It will soon be time for Amber Heard to take the stand, and with all that her lawyer team just did and failed to do, it's very fair to say that she's got more pressure on her to do whatever she can to course correct the ship, else be forever labeled in a beer of Johnny. What do you guys think of this? Do let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.